Welcome to NuttieBuddie Entertainment. The Great.
Let's start out with the great, and I'll start with Brandon. What's your first great of the Moon Knight series?
I would say Oscar Isaac. I love him. He's a great actor. Yeah, I like him as Poe in the Star Wars series, and so like I was excited to see him come into the Marvel universe again. This is kind of a weird character that you're like, okay, what is this going to be about? And just his sheer ability to kind of just like play this kind of guy that's all over the place, literally. Like I thought was real exciting, and I like the one thing that kept I don't know, this is my brain when I was watching him, like, how did he do this? Like, imagine just acting with yourself. Like, I know there's probably stand-ins and stuff, but it just was like, this is kind of bizarre. And I would love to see the mechanics and the behind the scenes of how he was able to like just vibe with himself so well, but also like have two dynamically different characters that were just
maybe three.
Maybe definitely
Jake was kind of peeking out a little bit.
Definitely three. What is Ed Jake, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed that. I thought that kind of just made the show, and trying to think. Yeah, that's definitely probably up there as one of the best for me.
I agree. I think him going back and forth from Stephen to Mark especially was pretty impressive, and how he can be this sort of like being a mercenary type where he's kind of calculated, he's standoffish, he's very forceful, in the way he talks to like Stephen or Layla at times, like, you need to get out of here, or don't do that. I rewatched the first two episodes. I wanted to rewatch all of them before our podcast tonight. I actually just listened to our podcast the rest of the way, but I re-listened to them, but I watched the first two episodes and I forgot how good they were. So, but yeah, and then Steven being sort of reserved, and those little quips he makes while he talks is just kind of hilarious. Like when he first got the Mr. Knight suit. And he's like, actually, I look pretty good, yeah. Or I'm not going to listen to, when he was talking to Mark in the reflection, and he's like, I'm not going to listen to you no matter how handsome you look. So he's like complimenting himself. So yeah, no, I thought I'm with you on that, Brandon.
Yeah, I also had him in my grade as well. And yeah, just the way he was able to act, and especially towards the end when he and Steven were like melded together to kind of seamlessly go in between both of them. Like the effort that takes is pretty astounding. And I think it would have been hard to get another actor to be able to play him, as well as like along with Ethan Hawke across from him too. So definitely had him in my grade.
And did you have Ethan as well in there?
I had Arthur Harrow character in my grade too. He's also partially in my ugly, but we'll get to that. There's a portion of it, but
I'm liking the tease.
Yeah. Keep you around for the end. But altogether, I thought he was a really good villain who is pretty complex, and I think they did a really good job with him and Ethan Hawke, like playing that character. You wanted to know more about him and like get his side of like where he's coming from, especially how Khonshu was acting. You could understand what he was doing in a way because of how Khonshu was with Steven and Mark.
Yeah, how he manipulated things.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I actually have him in my good, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Arthur Hero. Yeah. So just a couple things that I would have probably changed with him and his story. So let's see. Brandon, you got another good for us?
I was going to say, and I think you guys kind of touched on it, I liked the use of mirrors and just reflective surfaces. It was a really cool way to do that. Obviously, that kind of goes in with the Oscar Isaac as well, but it just kind of like kept you guessing of like what was going on. And then there's the shot where he's looking into like the bathroom vanity mirror where there's three different reflections. Just a cool idea to like display that like there's three different people in there. And even at that time you didn't really know it, but like looking back on it, I think it's like, oh, okay, that's like they're telling us here, and just a kind of a cool way to show that. I have a little bit of like a maybe I don't know, maybe bad about like some of the like look of the show, but we'll get to that too later. But I would say I like the use of reflective surfaces.
Yeah, it was cool. That mirror part, I thought that was them foreshadowing what was going to take place, that there was 3 personalities. Yeah. I'm gonna start with one of my greats, although we touched on Mark and Steven. The costume for Moon Knight and Mr. Knight. I like both those costumes. So I have a question for you guys.
All right.
If you could only choose one of those costumes to be in the great and the other one has to be in the bad, so you have to pick, you can't know, or even the good. I'll give you guys the good if it's too hard to put it in the bad.
You know what my next great was the Mr. Knight costume. I thought that was great. And how Steven was portrayed in it and how even his fighting style, I thought that was great. I like that over the Moon Knight costume, actually.
Okay.
I'm gonna flip it on that one. I'm gonna say the reverse. So because I've seen some like stills from like the comics where Steven has like a hood. It looks a little bit more menacing. He still has the hood, but with the suit. I don't know if you guys have seen those at all. Kind of look a little different, just kind of cool. I understand why they didn't do it, obviously, because of the use of like they really shot between the two there, especially in that last episode. So it'd be a little confusing who he was. But I don't know. I just love like that linen, like mummy looking vibe of the oh my goodness, his name is escaping me, but the other suit with the hood, whatever, not Stevens.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, Mark. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. No, I actually agree. I probably would go more the Mark Spector suit if I had to choose one. I do love Steven's suit though, so don't get me wrong, Brian. I could take either one of them. I'm a big Batman fan, so like that reminds me the most of Batman. So I would totally take the Moon Knight costume just based off that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, Brian, you got another great for us?
I know my last great was just the Mr. Knight costume. Really like that. So.
Brandon, you got any other greats?
No, I like I said, I'm kind of easy to please, so I like it all at certain things, but no, I'd say like those are the 2 things that really stood out for this category in my mind.
Okay, I'm gonna say some of the action sequences were really great. I thought especially the last battle scene when it was flipping from Moon Knight to and you could see how they were fighting together. That was pretty nice. And then the second episode where he was in the cupcake car and like the camera would like turn with the car as it was moving and stuff. So some of the action sequences I like. So I'm going to put the action sequences in the grade as well. You guys will probably tell me something about the CGI or something like that I missed, but I thought they were pretty well
I think
done.
I only had issues with the CGI in like the first episode or something. I kind of vaguely remember that, but yeah. Other than that, it was go ahead.
Yeah, it was the timber when the timber fell on those guys. Yes.
Was that in the cupcake episode?
At the very end of that, you could definitely tell those guys were CGI.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to the good then. Thanks so much for listening to Brandon, Brian, and myself break down some of the Moon Knight series. Let us know in the comments below what was your great, good, bad, and ugly of this series. If you'd like to listen to the rest of our conversation, the description to the podcast is in the link below. You can click on it or search NuttieBuddie Entertainment wherever you listen to the podcast. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with your friends. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will talk to you guys soon.